Hello, welcome to another episode of Flying High with Flutter. I'm your host, Alan Wyma. Today we have Stepan Záliš on the show. He is a one-man band operation running a very interesting product that I thought was really cool and a lot of people should take a look at. It's called Wishfly, if that's correct, right?
Yeah, correct.
So my understanding about what is Wishfly, it's kind of like a way to track what kind of features your users want and to be able to for them to actually vote on it too. Is that correct?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. Yeah, exactly. Wishfly is a tool for developers for letting users to create and voting for feature. And so with Wishfly, you can make like user-driven development in your app.
Now, where did the idea come from to build this?
Actually, I used like some app. I don't know. I don't remember the name, but the only option to suggest something was to send an email to developer. And I was thinking if there is easier way to do that, because the only way was to copy paste an email, go to your email client, and then write subject and say, "Hey, I want a dark mode." And yeah, you are not sure that the developer read the email, and you are not even sure if like somebody answer, and if it's something that other people want. So that's the reason I would like that people can vote on features, because it's easier for developers to get known if what are the features that he or she should focus first.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, is there a limit on how many features somebody can input into Wishfly for like per project?
Like I have two plans for now. For like free plan, it's 10 wishes. I can increase that in future, but for now it's 10. And for paid plan, it's unlimited for now. Like there will be some limits, but it's unlimited.
What I mean is, I think most of these are written by the end user, not the developer, right? So a user is using your product, they think it's missing a feature, they write, okay, there's a plus button to add the new feature. Like I'm saying, for that part, how many can the person put? I mean, you're saying there's only could be 10 for free.
Yeah, for end user, it's unlimited basically. But like for in a project, for free plan, then there can be 10 wishes at all.
But you said there's 10, there's a limit of 10, right? Is 10 by the developer and unlimited by the end user?
No, it's 10 in project, like in general. So, yeah, I mean, if you have paid plan, the end user can suggest any number of wishes or feature requests for now.
Oh, okay. So if I have a paid plan, my users can submit as many as they want. Now, what happens if they submit 10 and then so on the 11th one it just will have an error message, or what's kind of the experience if they reach the limit?
Yeah, there is an error message that like you cannot add this the last one basically.
Now, I'm also kind of curious too, like is there a way that we can combine these, because sometimes people may say the same feature and then we want to just combine them but different words, you know. Is there a feature for something like that?
Yeah, I was thinking about it too. I'm experimenting with ChatGPT, because it's quite nice that you can submit like all your feature requests in JSON and say, hey, I want to categorize them into UX design and I don't know, some backend things. And what you can get is a return uh, list of features that are categorized into these groups. Uh, it's quite nice, but sometimes I get quite weird results. So it's something that it's not ready to release, but it's also very nice.
Okay, interesting. But I also saw that you're talking about categorize, right? Because I've seen over here you have all, waiting, approved, to do, implemented, rejected. Are those all the default states that you can have for these submitted features?
Yeah, when the user submit a feature, it's in waiting state. so nobody can see it until the developer approves it. When it's approved, it's shown in a list of features. It's because of like spam issues sometimes. Like basically it depends on developer if he or she wants to include it in the list.
But if I'm the end user and I submitted my feature request, does that mean I cannot see if it's in waiting state?
Yeah, you cannot see it, but when I show the like Moodle where you write a title and description, there is written then before you saving it, it will not show in a list until the developer approves it.
Okay. Now, what kinds of limitations do I have? Like, let's forget about the 10 limit, right? Because I'm trying to think about if I want to add this to my app, is that a difficult process? Do I have a limit for how I can style it? Can I change the colors? Like, what are my limitations of how I can customize it and how I can fit it into my app?
This is actually a very good question. Right now, I have like quite basic UI, but you can style any colors you like. So color for like fab button, any text, and like vote button. But you cannot style like where the button is positioned, which is kind of limited because usually the developer wants to have the design which is included or where the app is styled. So it's quite limited. But right now I am in like validation state. So I'm waiting for feedback from real developers what they really want. If because my idea was to include the design, but developers may need to have just API client and they can style whatever they want and just provide the API for getting and submitting feature requests.
Yeah, I was thinking if you maybe if you have both, right? You have people who just don't care about the style, just want to get the feedback, and then you also have the people who actually want to integrate this deeply into their very custom app. That could be very interesting. Have you thought about doing something like that? Maybe separating your packages into two, one core API and one that will rely on that core API?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just working on it, and I think I will release it like today or tomorrow. I have almost ready for publishing the package, which will be separated from this one.
It's exciting because I think that would be really powerful. Uh, is it all like how does it work? I mean, is it that everything is stored in your own what do you call that Firebase instance, or can I host my own? How does it work in the back end?
Yeah, for the backend, I use Dartfrog and Postgres database, which is hosted in my VPS. So basically, it's on my server or cloud, whatever. But yeah, so it's stored in database basically.
Oh, so you're actually using Dartfrog as the API.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sharing the like request and result classes between because I have also the dashboard. So I have like client, dashboard, and backend. So I share like response and request classes between these three apps, which is also quite nice. So it's kind of full stack development.
Well, so and everything in Dart, right? The front ends in Flutter and the back ends in Dart Frog.
Yeah, all Dart.
That's interesting. I mean, why did you decide to use Dart Frog? To me, I looked at Dart Frog. It's still quite new. I haven't looked at it in a couple months. I mean, has things changed recently where you feel that it's good enough to rely upon?
Yeah, like the beginning was to just to experiment like how the things go there, but uh, I felt quite confident that for starting point it can be released. It can be used, and I think I haven't faced any big issue. So I think it's production ready. What's missing are some packages you can use. Basically, you can use some packages from shelf. Because yeah, I was facing an issue with cores, but you can add your like shelf package, and you can use from shelf middleware, and you can include the middleware from shelf, which is also quite nice. Yeah, the thing was the quite big issue was to include database, like connection to database. I used Postgres, and that was quite pain, I would say, compared to other backend languages or frameworks, because the support from like I use Kotlin and Go basically, so the framework support like it's much nicer to work with Kotlin or Go for backend, but it's nice. It's okay.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because I'm not sure of anybody using it in production, so it's cool to see that you are. So for handling the connections, right? How are you connecting to Postgres? Are you using some specific library?
Yeah, right now I'm using Stormberry, which also generates some classes like for connecting to database and some repositories. It's also kind of limited. I'm like going around it, and maybe I will use just Postgres, like clean Postgres package. But right now it's okay. Like as I said, I'm in a validation state, and yeah, the first thing I want to have more feedback, more users.
Okay. Now I'm kind of curious about your background, right? Are you a full-time developer besides this?
Yeah. This is just my side project. Like I work on it during nights and weekends.
Okay, so how did you get into programming to begin with? Did you study computer science in school?
Yeah, I finished grammar school, and after grammar school, I went to university, and this was the first time yeah, like before I went to university, I programmed, so like during my nights and weekends. So yeah, I found it quite interesting because I like building stuff, and I'm not like yeah, I like more. I don't like manual work, so I'm more like thinking guy. So building products with code is something which is very nice for me and very interesting.
Yeah, the same for me. I also like to kind of make my own projects if when I have the time. Um,
Yeah,
but I mean, right now in your day job, are you also programming?
yeah, I'm Flutter developer and uplifting, which is like Prague and London based agency.
Okay. Now, how did you actually first get into Flutter?
My background is I started as Android developer back in 2015 or 14, and like and 2018, like when was Flutter in beta, uh, it was really hard time for Android developers because I felt that everything took a lot of time to implement, just like simple stupid screen. And when I found Flutter, it was blazing fast to create a screen and fetch some data from API. And also I liked the declarative way of programming, because back then it was just, classic style to create text style and in XML, which was terribly slow, and the styling in XML is something which is very stupid, I guess.
Yeah, with Flutter, right? I mean, it does seem like super simple compared to uh basic Android. I mean, Android there's especially you were doing Java, right? You weren't doing Kotlin.
Yeah, I know Kotlin and Swift basically, just like on basic, like a beginner. But right now the situation is different because you have Compose and Swift UI, so both declarative like frameworks. But back then it was terrible.
Terrible. What do you mean? What do you mean by terrible in this case?
Yeah, like you have to first create your layout in XML, then bind the XML or like your layout to your fragment or activity, which which takes like terrible amount of time. And when I started this when you want to bind a layout, you have to type your find by ID and a reference to that layout, which when you look at it from like perspective of declarative way to program UI, it's it's hard.
I mean, there's that, and then you have to like, I don't know, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've done Java and Android, but I just remember like I made my first kind of production app where I did everything for iOS first because my client is mostly a Mac and iOS based kind of company. And then part of their team always had Android, so then I had to duplicate the app in Android. So I basically did class by class. And I remember I had to make an extra one or two classes because like in order to compare stuff, you have to have another class. It's been a while since I've done this. I think that's what it is. You have to make a comparator or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, what the heck is the point of that? Can I just within the function, do this? But this is, I think, before we had functional Java, which I think came out a long time ago. This is like before, um, way before Kotlin, obviously, and this is before like, yeah, I said before functional Java. This is before we had even Swift, so it was all Objective C stuff. So it was a really long time ago. I'm hoping things are better now that we have like what I call functional Java, where you can pass in lambdas or do they call it lambdas or just common anonymous functions or what? Do you know the term for those kind of things?
I think it's anonymous classes, or maybe lambdas. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. You can pass in those
Yeah.
unnamed functions and make it all work. I always thought that was super hacky, but I mean, at least I have something. I understand that it's hard to add this kind of feature to a language which never had functional aspects to it. It's like super object based kind of language, right? So I'm happy that they try something, but and I'm also like pretty happy about Kotlin. I think Kotlin's a really big step forward. I mean, have you started to make any Android apps in Kotlin yet?
Yeah, like we started using Kotlin when it was released actually, but we were quite happy because we all under developers quite hate Java. So when Kotlin was released, we were happy users of Kotlin. It was quite to switch because there was some concepts of like functional programming which was not really common in Java, or it's not common, maybe not yet, because it was locked to Java 8, and maybe nowadays the situation is different, but back then it was quite unknown.
Yeah, but I also know that Google wants to get away from Java because of that whole court case, right? So I think that's why they're pushing harder towards Kotlin. And also Kotlin, I believe, they've kind of gotten away from Java to a certain extent, if that makes sense. Kind of like Swift, where you can, it's more like Dart, where you can run it on a VM, or you can also run it on like bare metal. Like you can compile things natively because you have KMM, if you heard of that.
Yeah, I've heard that, like Kotlin native and stuff like that, which is also cool. But we have some experiments with KMM, but I don't know the like actual result if it's good enough or not.
My understanding of KMM is that your shared business logic you write in Kotlin, but you still have to rewrite the UI in both um, in the native side. So um, so for iOS you have to use, I forgot what it's called, UI kit or something, and then for Android you have to use I guess you can maybe use Jetpack Compose, but whatever it is. So to me that doesn't make sense because like the hardest part is always like the the UI. So it feels like it's like double the work compared to something like Flutter.
Yeah, and also I've heard that they introduced like Compose for iOS, so it like kind of translates to from Compose to Swift, maybe Swift UIs or classical UI kit views, but it's like early stage or early alpha, and it will take like many years to be at least beta or production already.
Okay. So for the Wishfly, how long have you been working on it for? Now that we kind of come back to it.
Yeah, it's been a month, I think. It's quite new project. Like I usually start prototyping, and what I've learned from my work, I want to move fast and try things and prototype and get feedbacks on the product, because I can develop Wishfly for a year and adding features, adding AI, adding things, but like the important thing is to release something and work on marketing, work on things that the real developers really want. As we discussed, I introduced like UI kit for Wishfly, but maybe developers want just AP client, and you don't know. You have to try. You have to ask questions. You have to get feedback on it. So this is important for me.
For the Wishfly, right? How many people do you actually have using it at this moment?
At this moment, it's about 10 users and about 8 projects already created, and so it's not much, but yes, as I said, I started quite recently, so I am in contact with the persons and with the people, and trying to figure out what's missing and what they really want.
So do you also have Wishfly for managing Wishfly then?
Yeah, I want to have that.
You don't have it? I'm so surprised you don't, right?
Yeah, it's something that I really want to work on, but yeah, as I said, like I have administration, client, and there is also shared package for like managing stuff between all the libraries, and there's landing page. So like for projects that needs to be managed, and yeah, as a side project, it's very hard to focus on something and make it good.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I understand what you mean. So I'm around, how much time do you spend a week on it?
I don't know the exact number, but it can be like, I don't know, 8 hours, 10 hours per week. It depends on how I'm busy at work. So maybe sometimes it can be quite like, I don't know, 15, 20 maybe, but usually about 10.
Okay. Can you talk about like more in depth about the features that you have? So obviously people can create new um, features that they want to have. They can vote on features. Can they vote down on a feature, or they can only vote up?
Yeah, they can vote down. This not right now, it's managed by like shared preference package. So I remember in app that you vote on some feature, and when you click it again, it's downvoted. Quite a lot of people ask me if you can vote for one feature many times, because it will definitely broke the voting system. And yeah, I was thinking about it, and this is already handled, because it will be quite bad. But yeah, when you vote, or when you add a feature request, uh, the developer must approve it. Then it will show in the list of features, and then other users and users can vote on it or add features as well. And from developer point of view, you can change statuses from approved to do implemented or rejected, because you can say that you won't have work, you don't have time for it, or the feature doesn't make sense for you, so you can reject it.
Okay. Um, is there a way that you can actually, so as the user, right? Sorry, not as the user, as the developer, if I see a feature request and maybe I want to kind of change the way it's written, because maybe I understand what they want, but they wrote it in a way that is maybe not so clear. Do I have the ability to change how it looks, or do I can only like move it along in the state?
Right now, you cannot. but when you are like from the developer point of view, you can edit the title and description. So if you want to a little bit edit the title or the description, you can definitely do that. But for users, it's not ready.
Okay, so if I submit the feature, I cannot change the way it looks, but if I'm the developer of that app, I can actually edit their written work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's important to have.
I wish I can add a feature for editing, like comments for a feature requests, so other people can comment and share their like point of view, what are their thoughts. But it's something that will require more work, and I need to focus on different things right now.
Yeah, if there's a way that you can comment, that's also what I'm thinking too. Like, there's no way to comment or even put like a reaction on it.
Right now, no, but I am thinking of a way to put reactions, but it will be added maybe in the future. Right now, no.
Oh, this is a really great question. I just checked the chat. Somebody asked a question, and I think it's really nice to have. So they asked, "Do you have integration with GitHub issues, or your tool has a Kanban board or Kanban?"
Right now, it doesn't have Kanban board, neither integration with GitHub. It's these features are quite heavy to have them, so it would be nice it actually would be nice to have a kind of roadmap for developers. So when you change a status, you can create a roadmap so end users can actually see what's your plan about your application. But right now it's out of scope. But if there is somebody who wants to help me with that work, I'm really open to to have some uh, help.
I mean, what about having the integration with GitHub issues? Are you looking at something like that? That could be really interesting. So not only does it create create that feature, but it also will put it on the GitHub. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be really good. Thanks. That's a good idea.
He also wants to know: is there any moderation on new features before other users can see them? I think there basically is, right? You have that waiting step, right?
Yeah, there is waiting steps. So until you change status to approve, it doesn't show. And there is also, when I was speaking about AI, there is also a nice way to detect this like kind of spam or harmless in the title or description, which would maybe help. I'm also, you know, during nights I'm experimenting with AI, so this is something that can be done with AI.
Okay, yeah. What about I just came to my mind, like, so you have the waiting status, which is like the initial status that they have once they get submitted. Now, if that issue or if that feature that they requested is like spam or maybe some bad words, if you want to get rid of it, you cannot delete it, right? You can only reject it.
Yeah,
But if it's rejected, does that mean that people can all see that, or is that only for you to see?
it's only for you to see because like I don't know, but I think that it doesn't make sense to users to see rejected statuses or features in the status, but maybe I'm wrong. I just don't know.
What about for users that submit features and they get rejected? They have no idea, right? So they just think that their issue could be, I don't know, who knows, right?
Yeah, this is a good point and something that I need to like spend much more time thinking about it. But right now, it's just for developer to know that these features are rejected. I mean, there are a ton of features that you can add to the app. You can add like decide the user if the feature is important or not. Like if it's something that it's just an enhancement or it's not important, but it's nice to have. So there are a lot of things to play with. It's just about the time.
Yeah, I mean, I can see there's so many different useful features. I think creating the automatic GitHub issues would be really nice to have, of course, for the developer. Seeing where it is in the pipeline, kind of like a Kanban board where you could see, okay, the feature is still not accepted, or the feature's been accepted and it's in planning phase or in progress or testing, etc. It'd be cool to see that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And also to get feedback from the user who submitted it to say, hey, what did you mean by this? Or does this suit your needs? That's also really key, like to be able to communicate back to whoever submitted it. Like, do you keep record of who submitted this feature? Is there a way to do that?
No, right now it's completely anonymous, but yeah, I was thinking about adding some not required email field, so user can add his or her email address, and you can respond back if you want to. That's also very nice to have.
Well, since this is integrated into your app, right? If you could just somehow link like the user, right? So you can pass in some type of string. It could be a database ID, it could be an email address, or even a name. So like a user, like a programmer field, like metadata that the programmer can put in there, so they can go back and find which user it was. Because I don't think they really want to give you some kind of like private information just because they want some privacy, right? But I mean, giving a database ID or some type of unique identifier so they can link back to the user, I think would be super useful.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you could use with this.
Yeah,
So I find it to be super interesting. That's why I wanted to bring you onto the project, because bring you onto the podcast to talk about this project.
yeah. Thanks very much, because all these points are very interesting for me, and I'm very happy to hear the feedback and to get more insights how developers wants to have it, because like I make Wishfly for developers and for users, but as a developer I focus more on like developer side of view, because like it's like priority users.
Yeah, I can imagine users being a little bit concerned about passing around their data, but yeah, I can see both sides. So what's next? So you're talking about splitting the UI from the API, so that way you can do custom UI yourself. What else is kind of coming up on the pipeline?
I was thinking about adding some like as you said, email address or something to know what who actually like created the issue, and you can maybe respond back. There is also I want to create a switch between like implemented and to do states in a client, so you can see what was actually implemented, and it's not, because right now everything from approved to implemented is shown in a list, which can be quite messy. So some type of filtering the feature requests would be very nice, and I am focusing on it right now.
That's awesome. I mean, how have you done some kind of like marketing for this, right? Because you're a one man band. How do you like get the word out there?
Yeah, this is I think the more like the hardest thing in a project, because I'm quite I think I'm quite good at developing things because of my background, but I have never published any product or project, so I don't have any I don't have much followers. I don't know how to promote, or I don't know how to market things. So right now I wrote an article on Reddit and on LinkedIn, which was quite successful, I guess. On Reddit, I have like 7 or 8 thousand views, and I get most like users from LinkedIn. Yeah, so these are my two channels for promoting or marketing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever thought to reach out to businesses in particular and see if they're interested to use this?
Yeah, I think I need to add more features, or like, yeah, as you said, more filtering, more roadmap to actually ask for feedback from companies, because I would say right now it's more just for single like freelancers or small developers. But let's see what's happen in an upcoming month.
Now, do you have any paying clients yet?
Not yet, because I just implemented the payment plan like yesterday, so not yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's still pretty cool. I mean, it takes time to get your first paying customer, but usually once you get one, then they start all coming in.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty good so far.
it can be really. I think it can be really frustration, because you spend a lot of time implementing something, when you release it and nothing happens. Like first day when I released the landing page, I saw some analytics and there was like 2 views, and one of the view was me, so it can be frustrating.
Yeah. Where did you get the name Wishfly from?
Uh, it was kind of combination, because I think about feature request as a wish, and somehow I came with like Wishfly, so like your feature will fly. It was like random combination, and I like the name, so I keep it.
Yeah, not bad. I kind of like the name. I mean, the wish part definitely I got that one. The fly part I didn't quite get. So, but still, it's not a bad name. It's pretty clear.
Yeah, thanks. I was thinking about it, not much, because when I started, I didn't know like if it's just a side project, and never released as many projects I've been working on. So this is the first one I published, so that's good.
Now, do you have any other products that you're thinking about creating?
Right now, no. I just want to focus on this one and see where it goes, if it will be used from developers. And yeah, right now, no.
I'm also kind of curious too. Have you thought about um, some of the clients that you have, if you want to give them access to the app or access to Wishfly and see if they're interested to try it out?
Yeah, I already asked one company I work on, and yeah, the feedback was they want like more features for filtering the features, because it's quite big company, and they would expect quite a lot of feature requests. So, but it's nice to hear that they would like to use it, but it's not ready for them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool that they're willing to use it. I mean, because it's a big bet, right? It's a one guy working on it, so it's cool that they see the value in it. So then, do you plan to add features in that they're requesting to see if they'll actually use it?
Yeah, actually, this is something that I take a vacation for 1 month from my work to actually kind of add the features I'm missing to, and then we will see. So for me, it's quite big bet to take 1 month vacation for this, but let's see what happens in 1 month.
Do you plan to take 1 month vacation to work on this app?
Yeah, this is actually quite crazy, but yeah, I'm quite confident that this is something that some developers would appreciate it, and maybe would pay for it. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to try. Like, let's see. Like in 1 month, nothing can like hurt me, or when it failed, I can return back to my company and start working on like agency stuff again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you like doing the agency work, or do you like making your product more?
Right now, it's more product work, because yeah, I've been working on for agencies, multiple agencies, like from the beginning. So this is something which product development is, I think, completely different area, because we are focused on MVP, and after MVP, usually it ends for me. It's finished the work. So making some project to actually be a product is really hard, and I don't have much experience with that. So it's something I want to learn. I want to learn how to do it and get some experience.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm also interested to know, like, which do you like more? Do you like product work more, or do you like, um, how do you say, or do you like the agency work more?
It depends. In general, I would say agency because different project you can work on different projects through the year, so it's actually more exciting to try new libraries, new state managements, like all the technology stuff. But sometimes I miss the product work, like focusing on details, which is something that in like agency or project work you can say, hey, this is MVP, so we don't have to focus on it. But in product, you want to make the product kind of perfect, and it requires quite different approach of thinking how how the product is built. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to kind of like, I don't know, I kind of like both. Like, it's nice to be able to focus on something, but at the same time, I like variety.
Yeah,
You know, new problems, new situations give you more ideas for the future, for future things that may arise, right?
yeah,
So I like that a lot.
yeah, yeah. I would say the same. Yeah, you summarize it as I feel it. I like the variety of different companies, different areas of applications, because sometimes it's IoT, sometimes it's like different e-commerce app. So it's nice to know different fields of today words.
Okay. Yeah, we got some more feedback from the guy who was asking questions earlier, Charles. He says, "Cool project. I'll test it with my app. Thank you for the good content." Right, so you're getting really great feedback. And he also says it would be nice to add categories or tags to group the features together. I mean,
Yeah,
there's endless amounts of features people are wanting from it.
yeah. I think I will publish some Wishfly for Wishfly because I don't know what to focus on after. So that would be cool to get this.
Okay, yeah. I mean, is there anything else you want people to know about Wishfly before we sign off? Because I really don't have any other questions. I mean, it's a very new product. I think we've all seen similar ones before, but we don't have one that's kind of like we can just drop into our app like this. And I think that's really cool to have. And yeah, is there anything else you want people to know?
Yeah, I would like to promote my Twitter account because I publish there some announcements, some things that I'm working on. So you can follow me on Twitter. It's Wishfly. So Wishfly Dev. Maybe I can send the link somehow, or we
Yeah, we
can.
can try to add the link to the show notes so people have it. Yeah, it's just wishfly.dev, I believe, right? Yeah, so wishfly.dev. Really check it out, give feedback. I think you need to get your own wishfly and the
Yeah,
wishfly so people can submit the feedback, right? But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think people should check it out. And if you have the API, I think that would be really nice because I can imagine some people want to have their own custom UI
definitely.
because yeah, it's jarring to have one style and then the app and then they click on something and then it's like totally different style, right? But I also like the fact that people can just drag and drop it into their app. Or not drag and drop, but people can just quickly add it to their app and not have to do a lot of work. So that's really cool. The other thing I wanted to ask too is that you did already ask like if people wanted to help out. I mean, is that still something that you're looking for, like for some assistance, or like are you looking for people to come join the company with you or join this project with you, or
Yeah, the client is open source, so like you can raise an issue or create an PR for it, make it better, make it. If you would like to, you can make some tests. I'm open to everything. Right now, I would like to work on it alone, but yeah, based on feedback, maybe I would require another person, like a backend developer or something, to not be so distracted with all the landing page, backend, and mixing stuff together.
okay, well, it's good to hear that there is some open source part to it. I mean, other than that, I have no more questions. It's really quite clear, and I just wanted to kind of give you a boost because I like the idea, and I'm hoping that it's useful for more people.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
And thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm loving the project. I hope it really keeps going.
Thanks very much.